we have been talking about this vision, these night visions that Daniel has been having. And it's interesting because these visions that he's receiving in the first year of Belshazzar, so this is toward the end of Daniel's life, not all the way at the end, but he's an older man. And remember, all the way at the beginning of his life, 3 years into his captivity in Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar had that troubling dream about the image. And Daniel had interpreted that dream as being the successive nations of the world, the Gentile nations. It really kind of introduced the concept of the times of the Gentiles, to which Jesus referred there at the end of the book of Luke. A time when Gentile nations would seem to have sway in the world, not God's people, not God's nation. And that times of the Gentiles period began with the Babylonian exile and will continue all the way until the second coming of Jesus Christ. So we have looked at these kingdoms, Babylon, and then Medo-Persia, and then Greece, and now we're going to look at Rome. But Rome is a little bit of an enigma because when we speak about Rome, we speak about, of course, the kingdom of Rome, where Jesus was born during the time of Roman domination. Rome ruled the world. But when we speak about Rome in the Bible and in prophecy, we're speaking about Rome in an extended way. So not just the physical empire of Rome, but what we call the revived Roman Empire. Because remember, this period of time that we're in, this period after the death of Christ, inaugurating there at Pentecost, is a time of the church. It's the church age. And in Bible prophecy, the prophets didn't see the church age because God was speaking to them as representatives to Israel. And so it's kind of like looking at mountains from a distance. I might see one mountain and another mountain, and from my perspective, they might look like they're right next to each other. But as they get closer and closer and closer and closer, those mountains might be miles and miles and miles apart because my depth perception is playing tricks on me. That's what happened with the Old Testament prophets. They saw the mountains, they described some things, but they didn't see the huge gap in between the first and the second coming of Jesus Christ. So when we speak about Rome, we speak about the revived Roman Empire, we look at it like, well, wait a minute, it's been 2,000 years since Rome. But in the prophecy of God concerning Israel, Rome is revived, and that's when the Antichrist will come. That's when the nations of the world will be at their peak, both in power and in its virulent anger against God's people, Antichrist leading them, and Jesus ultimately destroying them at the Battle of Armageddon. You and I will be there as well. So I know that's a lot. I threw a lot at you on a Friday morning, but let's look at a portion of that right here in Daniel chapter 7, okay? So Daniel chapter 7, and look at verse 7. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. So we've seen the lion with wings, we've seen the bear, we've seen the leopard with the four heads and the wings. And the Bible says, and I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. Now watch this beast. Dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. That's not organic iron teeth. And so it's great machinery, great military strength, great man-made iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. So it had complete and total domination. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. It had 10 horns. Now remember, we've talked about this time and again, horns in the Bible are always a symbol of power. So the fact that it had 10 horns meant that it was powerful, and its power was its power rested in the diversity of these 10 horns. So it's as if it's 10 separate powerful stations all wrapped up in one beast. So there's where we get the concept of the revived Roman Empire. It seems that what the Bible is teaching is that it's 10 separate nations, 10 separate entities, but under one banner, ruling and reigning together as a coalition. So sometimes we call this the revived Roman Empire. And the Bible says in verse number 8, I considered the horns. So Daniel is looking at this thinking, what is going on? He sees the teeth, he sees the power, he sees the destruction, he sees the horns, and Daniel's thinking about those horns. Now, I think one of the reasons why Daniel is thinking about those horns is because Daniel had already interpreted the vision years ago with the 10 toes. Remember the 10 toes made out of iron and clay at the base of the image that was destroyed? So Daniel, I think, is trying to figure this thing out. He's thinking about it. What does all this mean? And watch what happens in verse 8. So I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. So now this is new. This is not something that we understood from the first vision. This is added revelation. And so often in the Bible, you will see that. Biblical theology is the progressive revelation of God, of himself in the Bible. It's God showing us more and more and more about himself. And so here we see that God is expanding Daniel's understanding. He's expanding his knowledge of the end times and how he's working among these Gentile nations. This little horn arises, the Bible says, and let me see here. Yeah, verse 8, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. So 10 horns on this one beast, and a little horn arises that supplants by its roots 3 of the other horns. So it's as if this 11th power, this 11th leader is now taking charge of the beast, and in so doing is supplanting the power and authority and reign of 3 of the horns. So this little horn seems to be the mover and shaker, the leader of the coalition, one that has arisen and is now the undisputed leader of. So look at the verse again. And behold, in this horn, this little horn, were eyes like eyes of a man. So that the eyes of a man in the Bible speak to human intelligence, speak to human ingenuity. And so this little horn is a man, an intelligent man, and a mouth speaking great things. So what do we know about this little horn? We know that this little horn is a usurper of power, a ladder climber, if you will, a very powerful entity, an intelligent man who speaks pompous words. So he's very proud. He's very self-serving. He's very self-congratulatory. The kind of person that loves worship, loves honor, loves. So I think by now most of you probably know that this little horn really is the Antichrist. The Antichrist that will arise, the Antichrist that will be featured in world politics, that will eventually, through his ladder climbing, through his ambition, be the leader of the world. He will be one that will be looked at as great and powerful and unifying and intelligent, the Antichrist. Okay, so look at verse number, and by the way, as we study the book of Daniel, my purpose is not for us to do a deep dive on all of the nuances of the tribulation period and Antichrist and all that Antichrist is and the false prophet and all of that, because I just want to teach through the book of Daniel. So I could just stop and we could go into all these topics and go to Revelation, but we're not going to do that. I just want to kind of explain what the Bible is saying as we go through this. Now, we may, as a group, go through the book of Revelation one day, and maybe we should do that soon, but that's not the purpose of this particular study, okay? So look at verse number 9, verse number 8 again. Behold, in this horn were eyes like a man, a mouth speaking great things, and I beheld till the thrones were cast down. Okay, so these kingdoms, these horns, they're ruling and reigning, it seems, with impunity. It seems as if their power is unparalleled, and yet they will be cast down. And the Bible says in verse 9, and the Ancient of Days did sit. So this is the Lord, the Ancient of Days, the one without time, the one that rock that Daniel referred to in Daniel chapter 2. The Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, his wheels on burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth before him. Thousands ministered unto him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. Judgment was set. The books were open. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. Now, I don't have time really to go through all of this today, but we'll talk about this on Monday. This is a description of what we'll call the judgment of the nations, the setting down of Antichrist at the Battle of Armageddon, Jesus beginning to set up his rule and reign in the millennial kingdom. I mean, won't it be wonderful then? It's going to be incredible. So we'll unpack these verses and some others as we go forward. But for now, I think we're going to have to stop. So cliffhanger, we'll come back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, attend your local church, and we will see you at 10 o'clock on Monday. God bless.